against the innocent citizens. The evil within. How Nigerian government sponsor terror and injustice against the innocent. That is what we are going to discuss today. And we will try as much as possible to give our points, give our own understanding, and explain this very topic in a very way that people will understand. Because we are speaking to the world. Everything we explain in this platform is to give reasons why Biafra remains the only remedy to save life in the contraption called Nigeria. Why it is necessary that Biafra must be recognized, supported. That is why we are going on this path, and we will continue to do so, regardless what anybody thinks or whatever they have to do. What we are doing is not out of wickedness, it's not out of strife, it's not out of anger. It is preferring solution. One thing that everyone in that contraption agrees that is that it is not working out for anybody. This is a fact that every indigenous person in that contraption called Nigeria believes that Nigeria is not working for anybody. It's not working for the Janjaweed. It's not working for the Hausas. It's not working for the Yorubas. It's not working for the Igbos. It's not working for the Middle Beltans. It is not working for anybody. The only people that seems to enjoy the situation are those who are not indigenous, that were brought into that land to occupy it and take it over. The Janjaweed, they are the ones who are comfortable with the situation. But every other indigenous tribe, the Hausas, the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Efik, the Ijaw, every other indigenous tribe, it is not working for anybody. This is where every one of us agree. But where the differences comes is in terms of solution. Many of the tribes are very scared to venture into the solution. They are very good in coming online, coming to the national television to complain and complain and complain. After complaints, they go back home and remain in that very slavery. But for the Biafrans, we take the bull by the horn. We chase the solution, pursue the solution, present it to the world, and make sure that we pursue it to the conclusion. That is why you see Nnamdi Kanu standing in the court. That is why you see Nnamdi Kanu rejecting every single offer presented to him, even at the expense of his life. He is pursuing that solution because it's not about him. That is why Simon Ekpa left his career and ventured into the safety and security of his own people. Even at the expense of his career and his own life. Simon Ekpa put everything on the line. Even when he was promised to be made the Dangote of Biafra land, and he said, no, all I want is the freedom of our people. It is not about me. The Biafrans have a special grace that they fight for what they believe in. Even though we have some of us that have been polluted, some of us have been polluted because of the long stay in the British created entity called Nigeria. Because of their long existence in that, they have begun to behave like the lawless Nigeria. And of course, as you know, that nobody is a Nigerian. What we have is the Hausas, the Yorubas, the Igbos, and other ethnic groups in that very location. But as for Nigeria, nobody is Nigerian. And that is why even in their politics, in their elections, every time they talk about tribal presidency and not about Nigerian presidency. No. You see that in their structure, you see that in their campaign, you see that in their will. Go to their government now, Nigerian government. When Buhari was there, every appointment was about the Northerners. The Northerners occupied every single position. It is not about professionalism. It's not about the best. They don't care about the best. They care about their region. The same thing is happening today with the drug baron in Asorok. With the drug baron Trubu in Asorok today. Every single appointment is given to the Yorubas. It's about the Yoruba. It's the Yoruba government. So they do whatever they like with it. And I bet you, hopefully by tomorrow, maybe if what is it called? Peter will be succeed in getting there, it will become an Igbo presidency. And they begin to fix every part of the places with Igbo people. It is not about professionalism. It's not about competence. That is why Nigeria can never and will never survive. It doesn't matter. You can wish anything you wish. That's up to you. But we are talking about reality, facts. My brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of truth, I welcome every single one of you to this special broadcast today. Today we peel off the mask of deception, expose the unholy alliance between Nigerian government and the forces of terror, illegality, and injustice. For too long, we have watched as innocents are branded criminal. Every now and again, we watch the innocents branded criminals, while the real terrorists are protected, funded, and celebrated in the Zoological Republic of Nigeria. For too long, justice has been buried under the weight of corruption, lies, and blood. This morning, I ask, who truly sponsors terror in Nigeria? Who is the sponsor of terror in Nigeria? That's the question. Who benefits from chaos, division, and fear in the Zoological Republic of Nigeria? And why are the victims always silenced? Why the killers walk free? This is not just another topic. It is the very soul of Nigerian decay we are confronting this morning. We are confronting the very soul of Nigerian decay this morning. And we will try as much as possible to expose what we know and bring to light to the whole world what they have to know. One of the things that we have seen in the Zoological Republic, why it is irredeemable, is the culture of illegality in governance. The culture of illegality in governance. Nigeria operates like a criminal enterprise, not a nation guided by law. Whatever I say here is not out of hate. It is not a propaganda, neither is it a blackmail. There are facts to back it up, even in their own conventional media. All you need to do is to pay attention. The contraption called Nigeria operates like a criminal enterprise, not a nation guided by law. The Constitution is violated daily. Even as we speak, they are violating the Constitution, which they claim they have. Court orders are ignored with arrogance. Dissenting voices are abducted or silenced. This is daily occurrence in the Zoological Republic of Nigeria. From illegal detention to secret killings, illegality has become an instrument of governance in the contraption called Nigeria. You can see that playing out in Nigeria every single day. Look at the way Nnamdi Kanu is being treated. Look at the way Showore is being treated. Look at what Tinubu is doing to innocent Nigerians. Look at the demolition that is going on in Lagos today, destroying the livelihood of innocent people, including coming in the midnight where white people are sleeping, children, mothers, women are sleeping, and their homes were demolished. Without any compensation. When they want to make it look as if something is done, they will choose the people they know, those who are close to them, and compensate them. And then when you ask, they will ask you, your own home is not the only home this demolished. When the law becomes a tool in the hand of oppressor, the citizens become prisoners of fear. And that is what we see in Nigeria. When the law becomes a tool in the hands of the oppressor, the citizens become prisoners of fear. That is what Nigerians has become today, prisoners of fear. That they have now decided to accept a very demeaning condition as normal in Nigeria. Nobody complains. They have accepted lawlessness, slavery as normal. Many opportunities have presented himself for the people to act and take back their land, but they can't. They cannot, out of fear. As we speak, Cameroon is boiling and they want to take back their land. Cameroon is not stopping. And I ask, why is it that this is happening in all African countries? Look at the case of Cameroon, where a 93-year-old man who is already brain dead, a 93-year-old man that is already brain dead, it's not just about the age, he is brain dead. He has spent all his time in France. He is not even in Cameroon as we speak. He didn't participate in the election. He didn't campaign to anybody. They only paraded his picture and finally they announced him as the winner of the election. And you expect the people to fold their hand. Cameroon is not having it and they are fighting today. The news is everywhere. Many of you must have seen it. Exactly the same thing that was done in Nigeria. That each time election is conducted, their so-called INEC will announce whoever they choose, the highest bidder. They will announce the highest bidder and the highest bidder wins. Your vote doesn't count. It doesn't matter who you vote. It doesn't matter how many times you vote. It doesn't matter who you choose. It doesn't matter how qualified or unqualified you are. As long as you can pay your way, you become the leader. This is a system that the Biafrans do no longer want to be part of. When law becomes a tool in the hand of oppressor, the citizens become prisoners of fear. That is the situation of Nigeria as we speak. The citizens of Nigeria has now become prisoners of fear. Prisoners of fear. Remember, a government that cannot obey its own law cannot demand obedience from the people. Did you hear that? A government that cannot obey its own law cannot demand obedience from the people. But in a lawless, failed state called Nigeria, even in the midst of their disobedience of the law, you saw what they did to Showore. The Constitution of Nigeria and their law says that people have the freedom of association. You have the right to protest. You don't even need any approval from anybody to protest. The duty of the police is to guide you while you're protesting. But see here, the protester did them the favor to inform them that they're going to protest, and yet they decided to restrict them against the law. As if that is not enough, they arrested Showore. Even when Showore was granted bail, they attacked him inside the court. In the premises of the court, he was attacked. Look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu. The appeal court of the country, 3 judges in appeal court, the 3 judges unanimously said that Nnamdi Kanu has been acquitted from all charges. And the appeal court gave an order that no court in Nigeria has the jurisdiction to try the case of Nnamdi Kanu anymore, and ordered compensation to be paid to him. Instead of the contraption called Nigeria to obey their own law, they went against their own law, disobeyed their own law, and went back to that same court to prosecute Nnamdi Kanu and tell him to put defense. And they thought they were talking to a fool. And of course, Nnamdi Kanu responded accordingly. In all these actions, this is how the government of Nigeria sponsor and protect terror. The Nigerian government sponsors terror and protects terror itself. We must speak the truth boldly. Terror in Nigeria is not random. It is orchestrated and sustained. The terror groups in Nigeria, they roam free, fully armed with modern weapons. The videos are everywhere. They are not hiding a secret. It is not a top secret. The activities of the terrorists, the terror group, they are not hiding. They roam free. You see, they use their smartphone. They cover everything, including their operations. Wherever they go, they cover it. They don't hide it. Fully armed with modern weapons. The victims cry for justice, yet the government negotiates with their killers. The victims of this terror, they cry for justice. No justice is given to them, but yet the government goes back to this terrorist group and begin to negotiate with the people that have murdered innocent people, even when they have refused to listen to the voice of the victims that cry for justice. They go back and negotiate with the killers instead. Farmers, villagers, travelers, slaughtered daily, on daily, even as we speak, it is going on. Even as we speak, farmers, villagers, travelers are slaughtered daily. And what do we hear? The only thing you can hear on their media, the only thing you can hear from their presidents is, we are on top of the situation. A lie from the pit of hell. Every time this atrocity is committed against the people, what you will hear is that we are on top of the situation. Lies from the pit of hell. Lies upon lies upon lies upon lies on daily basis. They call it insecurity. But it's a well-oiled machine of fear. They call it insecurity. That's what they call it. But it's a well-oiled machine of fear. That is what it is. The same government that failed to protect the people funds, pampers the very killers of the people. Why innocent citizens rot in prison without trial? in all parts of the country. Innocent citizens rot in prison without trial. The same hand that shakes the terrorists under the table signs your peace. Statement on the podium. It is sad. It is sad. A very pitiable situation. And if something is not done, it is going to be worse than it is. The same hand that shakes terrorists under the table signs your peace. Statement on the podium. What a shame. What a shame. What we see in Nigeria is the economy of terror. What we see is profiteering from the blood of the innocent. That is what we see in the Zoological Republic on a daily basis. Every act of terror benefits someone in Nigeria. Every single act of terror benefits someone. From inflated military contracts to political manipulation, terror has become business in Nigeria. Terror has become business, very big business, $1 million business in Nigeria. Billions are allocated to the security, yet insecurity grows more and more on a daily basis. In every budget, billions are allocated to security, yet insecurity grows higher and higher than ever before. Communities are destroyed. The land seized by those unknown gunmen. You can imagine, in a nation, a country, existing country, terrorists will seize a particular area. They will seize it, collect tax, be in charge, elect leaders in a same country. And while they are doing it, they don't hide it. They will cover it, video it, and send it out. And yet, you think you have a country. Yes, some of you still think you live in a country. Yes, some people still come out and shamelessly defend their so-called one Nigeria. What a shame. Political elites use terror to silence opposition and maintain power. That is why, go to the Southeast today, every single governor is creating their own security outfits. Every one of them, they have their own security outfits. What are their purpose? Their purpose is not to secure the innocent citizens. It is to attack the citizens, to oppress, to put fear in the citizens, to take away the voice of the citizens. That is what they do. Look at every one of them. Each time they form the security outfits, when they come out to make their opening speech, their speech will always be on Biafra people, self-determination people. That if you are asking for self-determination, it is not in this state. That you have no right to demand for self-determination, even though they know that international law grants you that right. African Peoples and Human Rights Law grants you that right. And Nigerian law itself grants you right to self-determination. But yet, every single security outfit formed by these criminal governors attack self-determination. They don't go after the kidnappers because they themselves are the kidnappers. They sponsor it actively. They don't go after the kidnappers. They don't go after the terrorists. They go after the innocents. Those who want to make a life, make a living for themselves. These are the people that they're after. It is no longer about religion or tribe. It is about profit, control, and evil greed. That's what it's all about. What we see in Nigeria today is all about profits. They want to make profit by all means, even at the expense of the blood of the innocent. They want to take control, even at the expense of the innocent. Their greed does not know limits. They can take as many lives as possible to satisfy their evil desire. As we speak, the innocent is paying the price in the zoological republic. The innocent is paying a heavy price in the zoo. The victims are always the poor, the defenseless, the voiceless, villagers. Those are the victims. The poor, the defenseless, and the voiceless. We have seen clips, videos of villages burnt down by the same people that were supposed to protect them. We have seen videos, villages, homes of innocent people, family homes where families are living, burnt down to the ground by the same people that were supposed to protect them for no just cause, only because these people support self-determination because of freedom of speech, nothing more. They did not steal, they did not kidnap, they did not kill anybody, they didn't commit any crime. Their home burnt down simply because they are from a particular ethnic group and they have sympathy for self-determination, which is their right. We see the abduction of youths. We see abduction of youths in thousands. Youths have been abducted in several places. The youths have been abducted. Many of them lose their lives. They continue to attack the youths. They continue to intimidate the youths. You go to the prisons in Nigeria, it's filled up with young men and women who has not committed any crime. In all the prisons in the northern part of Nigeria, go there, you will see Biafrans, innocent Biafrans that have not committed any crime. The only crime they committed was that Chukwu made them a Biafra. They didn't create themselves. They didn't bring themselves into the world. They accepted their fate as Biafrans and they continue to survive as Biafrans. That is the only crime they committed. Activists like Nnamdi Kanu, unjustly detained for speaking the truth. Look at what they are doing to Nnamdi Kanu. Even when their own court have confirmed that Nnamdi Kanu has not committed any crime, they continue to hold him. They continue to persecute him. They continue to torture him emotionally, physically. These days, they are attacking him physically. It is no longer emotional torture. They see that they cannot break him through their emotional torture. They began to attack him physically. Look at Omoyele Sowore, who came out to stand for justice and spoke up and said, justice must be done. Free Nnamdi Kanu. That is the only crime Omoyele Sowore has committed. They took him in, beat him up, locked him up, detained him, released him, and re-detained him again. Simply because he stood up for justice. Yet, the real enemies, the terrorists in suits and uniform, dying in luxury. While all these atrocities are being committed by the Nigerian government, the real enemy, the real enemies of the people, the real terrorists in suits and in uniform, dying in luxury. Even when some countries of concern have given the name of these terrorists, so you wouldn't say you didn't know. You wouldn't say you don't know. Even when they have given their concern and named these terrorists, even Saudi Arabia denied one of the terrorists entry into Saudi. And yet, Nigeria continue to dine and wine with these terrorists, and they are living in luxury. Some of you do not know how evil that entity called Nigeria is. It is not just about religion issue. Like, so sometimes we narrow it down to religion. We know that is some religion aspect of it. But can you imagine that a terrorist travels to Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia, which is the headquarters of Islam, refuse that terrorist from entering their country because they know he's a terrorist. They confirmed him as a terrorist. They refuse him entry into Saudi. But that same man is celebrated in Nigeria. He lives in luxury. Whenever he speaks, the country listens. The terrorist country, Nigeria, listen to him. Now you understand, when we say Nigeria is a terrorist country, it is not a blackmail or propaganda. It is a fact. It's left for you to either take it or leave it. It doesn't change anything. Neither does it change what I think or what I believe about it. It doesn't change anything. But we must continue to speak up and tell the world the true situation in that zoological republic called Nigeria. In that contraption that is not meant to be. In that British business center. In a place where the British used human being as a commodity. In 21st century. In 21st century, the British are still using human being as a commodity. That is what is going on in Nigeria, because Nigeria is a British company that its own purpose is not to satisfy the needs of the people. It is to make sure that the interests of the British is met. And they have succeeded in getting some indigenous people who are ready to put their own life on the line to make sure that the will of the slave master continues. As long as their own bank account is growing. And that is despicable. And you can only get such kind of attitude mostly in Africa. You can only get such attitude in Africa, where people do not have conscience, where you see people that are conscience is dead. They are greedy and selfish to the extent that their conscience is dead. That they will give out the life of the innocent women, children, elderly, at the expense of their greed, wealth. The real enemies, the terrorists in suits and uniform, dying in luxury. What you see in Nigeria is not governance. What you see in Nigeria that's happening daily is a state terror wearing the mask of democracy. What we see in Nigeria is a state terror wearing the mask of democracy. And that is why we continue to speak about it, call the attention of the world. That contraption is not supposed to survive the next second. In 21st century, a place like Nigeria is not supposed to exist in 21st century. And that is why we present Biafra as a remedy. End it now. Let the Arewas go their separate ways. Let the Oduduwa people go their separate ways, and let the Biafrans go their separate ways. Let the Middle Belt be on their own. Let each and every one of them protect their territory, their own rear, grow in their own space, at their own speed. That is what we are asking for. Is that too much to ask for? Is that too much a request to make? I don't think it is too much to ask for. It is not too much to ask for. But because the West oppressed, they operate based on our interest, as long as their own interest is covered, which is resources. Once there is somebody in that zoo that is willing to allow the resources to continue to flow to the West unchecked, they will always support that very idiot. Any idiots that wants to take over power and continue to allow the resources in Nigeria to move to the West unchecked, they will support that person. That is why you see what is happening in Cameroon today. That France is supporting a dead man walking. Someone is brain dead. He neither speak, neither does he talk. He cannot comprehend anything. And yet, they use his picture for campaign. From January to December, he's living in France in the hospital. But they use his picture to campaign. And in the presence of France today, that man of 93 years old man that should be in the grave, a 93 years old man that should be in the grave with his ancestors, is ruling a country where they have bright brain, young men and women that have a future, young men and women that's supposed to plan their future. You force that man into them, and you announce him a winner of election. 93 years old man. What business has a 93 years old got with governance? What business? Even at 80 years old, at 80 years old, your brain will not be functioning normal anymore. It doesn't matter the injection, the treatment you get, it doesn't matter. At 80 years old, your brain will not be functioning very well. Your brain will not be functioning very well. We see them everywhere. You see how Buhari was messing up when he was alive. He can't comprehend word. He forgets things easily. Amnesia all the time. The same thing with this idiot called Tinubu today. He hardly remembers what he says. And these are the people you expect to bring change to a system. What we see in Nigeria is state terror wearing the mask of democracy. That is what we see in Nigeria. And the international community have to weigh in and stop it now before it is too late. But it is sad. This madness has continued to strive because of the complicity of the international community. They wouldn't act. As long as their own interest is protected, they don't care. Why is the world silent in all these atrocities across Africa? More especially in the zoological republic called Nigeria. They call it the most populated African country nonsense. The most populated African country with the greatest failure, run by terrorists. Why is the world silent? The only reason the world is silent about the situation of Nigeria is because Nigeria provides oil. Nigeria provides markets and influence. So they turn away from the blood on its hand. They don't care. The oil will continue to flow to them as long as the oil from Nigeria, the resources, the gas continue to flow to them regularly. Their criminal markets continue to flourish on a daily basis. They continue to have influence over Nigeria and their resources. They turn away from the blood on its hand. They turn away from the blood of the innocent crying daily in the hand of the Nigerian government. They turn away from the blood of the innocent that is crying every single day, even as we speak. But Chukwu Okike Abiama does not keep silent at the cry of the blood of the innocent. Whenever the blood of the innocent drops, that deepens the destruction and sign and seal the automatic destruction of the contraption called Nigeria. There's nothing you can do about it. A lot of innocent blood have been spilled already. And there is nothing any human being can do on this planet Earth to redeem Nigeria. That is why we are speaking up, calling for the end to that contraption a legitimate call to end that contraption and give room for humanity to survive. The dangerous diversity in Nigeria was intentionally put in place by the British and the West to make sure that oil, market, and influence continue to flow according to their own pace. Mali was able to escape theirs. Niger have escaped, and Burkina Faso escaped. Today, all the clutches of the West is on Nigeria, holding it and holding it tight. That is why in the spilling of the blood of innocents, they will never speak. It doesn't matter how many blood flows. They go ahead and they preach about humanity, justice, and all whatnot. At the end of the day, they support and stand with injustice against the innocent people in that contraption, the indigenous people. They preach so much about human rights. But in Nigeria, the international community joined Nigeria to abuse the rights of the people. Every time you speak in favor of Nigeria, you spit on the blood of the innocent that is being spilled. You partake on the punishment for the blood of the innocent that is being spilled in Nigeria. Every time you speak and support and promote Nigeria, you are promoting destruction. And you are taking a share from the blood of the innocent that is being spilled on a daily basis. And Chukwu Okike Abiyama will never spare you. When Nnamdi Kanu told the British that the same thing they wish the Biafra is going to happen to them, they thought it was a joke. Today, their own land is being taken over by strangers. The British land is taken over by the stranger, and they will take it over. The strangers must take over British. They will take it over. Except they repent and remove their hand from Nigeria. If not, the same way they handed Nigeria over to strangers, their own land will be taken over by strangers. The same manner they took Nigeria and handed over to strangers, they saw the indigenous people, the Yorubas, the Biafrans, they were there. The indigenous people, they never handed over their land. They took the land and gave to people that come from Sahel, people that are not Nigerians. They handed them over to make sure that the evil agenda continues, to make sure that the destructive diversity and division continues. If they do not correct it or remove their hand from that evil, their own land will definitely be taken away. Nnamdi Kanu made that prayer and signed it, and Chukwu Okike Abiyama signed and sealed it. And today, look at them, what they are doing. Look at what is happening in the UK. Look at them crying every day. Look at them crying every day. Strangers are chasing them away, and they will chase them away. Strangers will take over the United Kingdom. Strangers will take them over. It will happen. We will all see it happen. As long as they continue to meddle in the issue of Nigeria, they will be overrun by strangers. Because Nigeria provides oil market, provide markets and influence, so they turn away from the blood on its hands. But we say, silence in the face of injustice is complicity, including the US, including Russia, including China, whichever country you are, and you are silenced. You are silent in the face of injustice. It means you are complicit. You are complicit. Any country of the world that is silenced in the face of injustice is complicity. Every global leader who ignores Nigeria atrocity is equally guilty. Any global leader, it doesn't matter your country, it doesn't matter your nation, and you ignore what is happening in Nigeria. You ignore Nigerians' atrocity against innocent citizens, against innocent people. You ignore it. You are equally guilty. You are guilty. It doesn't matter the location. It doesn't matter the tribe. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter your belief. You are a global leader and you ignore Nigeria atrocity. You are equally guilty. Because when evil is not condemned, it grows bolder. And it is because Nigeria is not condemned, that is why it's growing bolder. You gave an ultimatum to release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. They refused. There was no punishment. They kidnapped Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. There was no punishment. They attacked protesters. There was no punishment. They took the innocent life of the protesters through the NSAS. NSAS, innocent youth, we are shot in cold blood. There was no consequence from the world. Instead, the same man that ordered that shooting, finally became a president, and the whole world is giving him a platform to speak. You see the evil. You see the evil. They kidnapped a government that participated in kidnapping. You did nothing. A government that participated in terrorism against its own people. You did nothing. A government that attacked citizens for calling for a better nation. The same man who ordered that killing today went and bought his way to become a president, and yet every one of you is dialoguing with him and going into business with him. It doesn't concern you. You are equally guilty. You are equally guilty.